Hi everybody, welcome back to the FM26 Youth Academy Challenge with Piacenza Calcio, and I've taken all your feedback on board from the last episode. There were a lot of comments about people saying it was too robotic and too scripted, so we're going for a bit of a mix. We've got a script to follow, not a script to follow even, a flow to follow. Does that make sense? A flow to follow, and myself being myself. A lot of you said the reason you like the channel is me being me, so there's going to be a bit more of that in this episode. So thank you all. It does prove as well that I read all the comments, reply to all the comments, and like and love and thumbs up and whatever you need to do to them. So please do keep them coming on all future episodes as well. Let me know if you prefer this style of video. Let's dive into it. So the first thing to discuss is a new, or another, it's not new, it's another tactical evolution, and we've gone through one with our system again. It's still the 4-3-3, but what we've done is mixed up some of the team instructions that are within it. So in terms of in possession, we have now changed it so that our tempo has changed. We are time wasting a little bit more. We're playing with more width. We're encouraging our set pieces again. We are no longer passing into space. We are no longer working the ball into the box. And our crossing has changed. We're no longer going for low crosses. We're going to try and play to Fucci's strengths. I realised that what we had done is actually strayed away from what our players are really good at doing, and Fucci is really good at winning the ball in the air, so we have changed that as a tactical tweak. In terms of out of possession, our defensive line has changed a little bit. Our cross engagement is no longer allowing crosses, and we're not pressing their goalkeeper anymore because that would be silly. Why would we go and press their goalkeeper? We're pretty rubbish defensively anyway. So yes, a couple of tweaks in there in terms of the tactics in and out of possession, and then a couple of role changes as well. One of the defence midfielders has become a box-to-box midfielder, and the striker has become a target forward because that is what Fucci does really, really well. So with the tactical changes done, that leads us into the final three fixtures of the season. And this saw us take on Lumezzane, which we won 2-1, Legnago, which we won 1-0, and Giana, which we won 3-0. So three very good results in there, and all of them coming up trumps. What, 1 goal conceded and 6 goals scored was absolutely really, really good to end the season, which was amazing. And it made us finish in 5th, which means, well, we would have gone into the playoffs at the first round, but we didn't because we won the Serie C Cup. So we managed to miss the first 2 rounds of the playoffs and enter into the 3rd round. So in the 3rd round, we took on Campobaso. They had qualified for the playoffs through the normal route. In a league position, nothing too special. They had gone through the 1st round, the 2nd round, and got through to play us, the Serie C Cup winners, in the 3rd round. And the game got off to a great start for us. Carbone scored a penalty that had been won by Fucci from a push in the box, and through 17 minutes, we were 1-0 up, which was an absolutely fantastic start to the game, but it wasn't going to last too long. 20 minutes later, and probably one of the worst finishes from outside the box I've ever seen, as a Martina shot trickled into the far post. Not too sure what Pichi was doing there, but we're not going to blame our young goalkeeper for conceding goals. He is still learning. The game carried on and was quite entertaining all the way through it into the second half, and Campobaso started to just turn it up a notch in their first leg, which was at home. We intercepted it in the middle. Trasciani, who was getting a debut from the new latest intake, picked up the ball. We launched into a counter-attack but couldn't do much with it. Campobaso then decided to go again with another chance. They put it down the left-hand side, worked it really well as Forte came in field. Gargiolo beat Carbone back to Forte, and his shot was placed wonderfully well into the far post. 2-1 to the home team, Campobaso with the advantage. A goal kick was taken out to the left-hand side by the home team again. They built up through Forte again. He ran past Napolitano with ease, got to the byline, dug out a cross, which then found Skarbakuski in the middle. And I've absolutely butchered that name, but he scored a tap-in, and that was with 9 minutes to go. But we weren't done, because in the 92nd minute of 94, we then managed to score what would be a crucial goal to only lose 3-2 in the first leg. Biffy ran down the left-hand side, put a cross in. It was headed away. He found on the edge of the area Trasciani. Fucci was there, back to the debutant Trasciani, and he curled it into the top corner to give us a 3-2 loss. So into the second leg we went, and we knew that if we could win the game by 1 goal, we would go through as the higher seeded team. Carbone fired a penalty into the top corner after 20 minutes to make it 3-3 on aggregate. If it stayed like this, we were going through into the next round of the playoffs. Cuofo then went with it down the right-hand side. He got past his man, got to the byline, really put in a good cross, and there was Galina to fire home to make it 2-0. Advantage Piacenza, 30 minutes gone. The next goal started with Picci into the second half, and he lobs the ball out to Galina. Galina looks in field but gives it away. Cristallo founds Goggiolo into Serra, into Bifuco, and then a lovely through ball found the striker Skarbuski, and it is 2-1. 4-4 on aggregate. We're still going through as the higher seeded team. But all the goals were not done there. Galina got the ball on the left into Trasciani, square ball to find Inverardi, and with 55 minutes gone, our 1-goal lead on aggregate was back in place. But the goals still weren't done there. A cross came in, it was headed away really well, and only with 20 minutes to go, Campobaso really put the pressure on. Nardi ran down the right-hand side, easily beating his man. He got held up, but beat his man again, beating Paracci twice, crossed to the back post, and the header was put home by Forte. 5-5 on aggregate, 3-2 in both legs. We go through as the higher seed. That then set us up with a home tie first against Cosenza in the next playoff round. The conditions were gusty, the stadiums were going to be pretty full, and this should be a very good game for the neutral. It started well, 15 minutes into this one, and we built up from the back. De Luca was starting at left back due to suspensions for Paracci. Inverardi then beat his man on the left-hand side, got all the way through, dug out a cross, and Fucci somehow managed to beat the defenders to that one, although it was credited as an own goal because when I saw the replay, Fucci kicked it against the defender. Into the second half, and a corner was swung in. Barone kept it alive. Florenzi with a low cross, tackled, and it fell to Kuan. 1-1. That's the start of the second half. As we carried on though, Piacenza weren't going to give up, and we managed to get a winner. Venna found it to Carbone. Pellegrini and Carbone controlled the ball in the midfield. Arba went out to the right into Granero. Fucci at the edge of the box, back to Granero, onto the on-rushing Arba, and the right wing back gave us a 2-1 lead in the first leg. And with a 2-1 win in the bag from the first leg, we knew we could approach the second leg with a bit more comfort. And we didn't need to approach it with comfort because two quite unexpected goal scorers gave us a very comfortable win. As Cosenza were trying to pass the ball around the back, they eventually got it wrong. Great interception from Paracci. Pellegrini picked the ball up, found Paracci in space, crossed it in, and it was cleared away. It fell to Cufero into Galina, round through to Puzzolo, who fired us into a 1-0 away lead, 3-1 on aggregate. But as I said, we scored 2 in this one, and this goal scorer is even more unlikely than Puzzolo. Cuofo gave it into Galina, into Puzzolo, over to Carbone, and Paracci from the edge of the box fired it into the top corner. 4-1 on aggregate, comfortably through to the next round. So with the quarterfinals won and done with our most comfortable performances, we moved into the semi-finals and it all turned up a notch. Padova took the lead away from home as Picci turned a shot onto his own bar from a corner and Fenyo was at the back post to make it 1-0 Padova. But we then got our own corner down the other end. Pellegrini swung it in, aiming for that near post again. It was headed away. Inverardi kept it alive, played a pretty long 1-2 with Inverardi, and he fired into the far post with the outside of his boot, 1-1. But that wasn't the end of the goals in the first half. Padova won a penalty and Esposito stepped up to take it, and he sent Picci the wrong way, firing the ball into the corner to make it 2-1 Padova, and that is how the first leg ended. So we moved into the deciding game of the episode. Win this, we're in the playoff final with a chance of going up to Serie B. Lose this, and we're out of the playoffs altogether. Padova will go and face Blueneri under-23s Inter Milan, as we know it. Even if they draw, they go through. There is no home advantage or higher seed advantage in this game. It is purely done on the aggregate score. If it's a draw, it goes to extra time. If it's still a draw, it goes to penalties. For the first 10 minutes of the game, it was all pretty balanced. We had had a couple of shots, they had had a couple of shots. Neither goalkeeper really called into action at all. Negretti brought the ball out from the back and Cuofo's pass was absolutely horrendous. Esposito laid it into Pelletri, Sudoku took over and he released Seghetti with a fierce shot, but Picci held on. As we looked to build up again, Cuofo spread the play out to Napolitano, who was back in at right back. He went past his man, got to the byline, put in a cross, and Fucci was there to head us home inside 9 minutes and make it 2-2 in the second leg. 1-0 up, 2-2 on aggregate. It was all to play for. If this result stands, it goes to extra time. Napolitano with a wonderful assist at the back post, Fucci rising well, and they are the changes we made to the tactics, coming to aplomb. Padova won a corner and Paletti was going to swing this one into the box. Now, we've been vulnerable from corners. Carbone managed to head this one away, but the ball was still loose. Back out to Paletti into the near post, and Seghetti makes it 1-1 on the day, 3-2 on aggregate to Padova. So you can imagine the joy in my heart when Padova got another corner. Esposito was going to take this one in swinging again. This one was slightly better dealt with, other than someone had pushed someone in the middle of the park. That is very, very irritating. VAR confirmed the decision and the penalty was awarded to Padova. I'm not going to say it's home team advantage, but it didn't look like there was much happening in there. Esposito was going to stand over the penalty. He fired it home with his left foot and made it 4-2 on aggregate to Padova, 2-1 on the day. With half an hour gone, we were huffing and puffing, trying to get ourselves back into the game. But whatever we did, we couldn't seem to find a breakthrough. And the ball kept falling back to Padova, and they were trying to keep possession and doing it pretty well. Seghetti ran down the left, put in a cross, and it was then turned into the net by Saduko. 3-1, 5-2 on aggregate, and surely game over. We went into the tactics and realised that our fullbacks were playing on different sides in and out of possession. So we very quickly changed that, and hopefully that would make a big difference. And boy, did it. So into the second half, and we had realised that the changes we made at fullback, making sure they were defending on the same side they were attacking, had actually helped. But we were going to ring the changes as well. We had some terrible performances out there. We had told everybody that we were pissed off and annoyed, but also we had faith that they could turn this around. But a number of the players wouldn't make it to see the second half. Off came all three players in the attacking midfield role. Youngster Tresciani came on in attacking midfield, Granero came on at right wing, and Banchietti came on at left wing to give us a little bit of a difference, a little bit more pace, and hopefully some more ability in that final third. Seghetti ran through but was tackled quite well. Granero picked up the ball over the top looking for Fucci, nice chest control, and what a counter-attack that is. 3-2 on the day, 5-3 on aggregate. Straight from kickoff, Granero made a good interception. Carbone feeded it up to Tresciani. He put a ball over the top and Fucci had scored again. Less than 2 minutes gone in the second half, and we had turned this one around to be 3-3 on the day. 5-4 down on aggregate. Carbone into Tresciani. Lovely reverse pass over the top to find Fucci's run, and the striker was not going to miss from there. Lovely first time finish. That's game on. With half an hour to go, we rolled the dice again. We made our final changes in this game that we could. Isaac came on to replace the yellow-carded Pellegri. He moved over to the more defensive role, allowing Carbone to push on more. De Luca replaced the ineffective Cuofo to give us a much more attacking left-hand side, and we cracked on with the game with 30 minutes left to play. We needed one more goal to take it to extra time. With 15 minutes to go, Napolitano took a throw-in short to Granero. He got it back from the central midfielder and decided to go on a little mazy run forward. A great ball down the line to Tresciani was cut back, and there was Granero to fire home. 5-5 on aggregate, 4-3 on the day. This had turned out to be an absolutely bonkers game of football, and youngster Tresciani had a huge role to play in bringing us back from the dead. Granero with a great finish, 4-3, it finished inside 90 minutes. We were going to extra time. So as we headed into extra time, we did get another substitute we could use, and we were going to use it. We had some tired legs out there playing all these games in the playoffs, and if we could get through this, we'll have 2 more to play against Blue Neri, because they will be home and away legs as well. But first off, we had to get through extra time as Biffy comes on to replace left winger Biacante, who had picked up a knock, and we left it there. Just one change. Into extra time we go. The first half of extra time came and went, and the teams could not be separated. So into the second half we go. No changes, no differences. Let's try and get the winner. But as the time ticked down, there were no other goals. With the final whistle about to go, we knew we were heading for penalties. It was a throw-in to Padova on the left-hand side. They worked it well. We intercepted it. And then this happened. I was asked to select my penalty takers. The game had gone to penalties. The game was over. It was done. 120 minutes played. The teams couldn't be separated. 5-5 on aggregate over 2 legs. And something very strange was happening. I was trying to organise the players by composure and penalty taking. The game wasn't having any of it. I manually picked them all by composure and then thought, okay, we've got our list. This is everything we need to do. You can see me doing this in the background manually, picking who I can do, trying to sort it by penalty ability, trying to sort it by composure. We picked our list, gave our players their instructions, and thought we are good to go. Except we weren't. After I gave the team talk, told the players this is their chance to be heroes, we got back into the game. The individual instructions were done. Into penalties we go. Although we didn't. We just didn't go to penalties. The game crashed. I tried everything I could to get this going by changing the camera angles, trying to get things reset and back in and back out, but nothing was working. We were frozen on a screen for the final whistle of 120 minutes. I tried to use the back arrows, tried to close the replay options away, tried to go into options, tried to do whatever I could, but nothing worked, which meant we could only do one thing. We had to instant result penalties, and that is an absolute killer. We clicked instant result, we confirmed it, and we came to the homepage, which delightfully informed me that we had lost on penalties. Blue Neri were going to be facing Padova in the final. It was a loss on penalties. The home team had won, and we had been knocked out. Not only is that disappointing, it's disappointing because the game has messed up again. For FM26 to be charged at full price is absolutely ludicrous. There are so many bugs in this game. It has not been quality tested, and that is a very big disappointment. Our season on a whole is obviously a massive success. 5th in the league, the XG table proves that we played well, and our results were good going into the final end of the season. We've tweaked the tactic, we've made it better, we're playing to our strengths, but for the game and the season to end like that is just thoroughly disappointing. Now, I'm going to log it on the bug tracker. Whether they know what they can do with it or not, I have no idea. But to have to instant result a game where we've come back to draw 5-5 after being 3-1 down in the game on the aggregate score at half time in that game is thoroughly disappointing. It really, really is. But it does lead us on to the end of season review. So here we are in the game live, and we're going to go through a few of our players. First off, the retirees who are leaving the club at the end of the season due to old age. First up, Luca Spardella. He has been pretty good at the back, to be honest, given his very, very limited physical playing style. He can still jump, he can still tackle, and he can still mark. And he has been very good for us this year. If we go into his season stats, you can see 8 starts, 10 sub-appearances, a 6.78. Really doing okay, like really good at stepping in and when we needed him to. He did play in the playoff semi-final, second leg as well, and put in a good performance, but we are saying farewell to Luca Spardella, 36 years old. He's moving into retirement. He has got a staff attribute as a coach, so he might not be ending his Piacenza Calcio career, just maybe ending it as a player. I'm not sure yet if we're going to bring him in. We'll see how it goes and see what coaches we need. But yeah, Luca Spardella, the centre-back at 36 years old, is retiring. Joining him in retirement is Antonio Palmer, our holding midfielder, central midfielder. Again, really dropped off physically, actually showing lots of signs of improvement. Really didn't feature that much this year. 4 starts, 4 sub-appearances, a 6.68. He was one that the game and the youthfulness of the team that we're bringing through, and especially in central midfield, the game has sort of passed him by and escaped him. But again, had his good times in the youth academy save. That first season was pretty integral for how we were playing. In the second season, he dropped to about half the amount of games, and then this season even less games as well. So yeah, not too bad from Palmer. He is also turning into a coach as well, and he comes with some decent mental attributes. can't really coach anything, unsuited at everything to do with technical coaching. But yeah, again, another one that we might just keep an eye on. As our coaching limit increases, I do like to bring back old players at the club. So he might be someone that comes in. Antonio Palmer is there. And yeah, I'd like to say it'd be sad to see him go, but he's probably, out of the 3 retirees we have, he's probably the least that I'm worried about. And finally, our absolute goal scoring machine, Michel Trombetta up front. He was leading the line for us for 2 seasons and was absolutely superb. He is also retiring. His stats are in decline all across the board. His 6'5" and jumping reach of 16 was just phenomenal in the first 2 seasons. Heading 14, finishing 13, off the ball 11. He got into good positions and scored a lot of goals. 30 in 38 in our first season, 19 in 39 in the second season. And he still ended his final season in professional football with roughly 1 goal every 2 games and a 7.2 rating, 7.02 rating. So was clearly a very good backup, as it turned out that way, to Fucci for us. 34 years old, also becoming a staff member. He wants to be a head of youth development, and he could be a half decent one, given that he's got good judging player ability and good judging player potential. Can't work with youngsters too great, and has only got a balanced personality, so he's one that we probably won't look to bring around. I'd love to give him a coaching role because he was so good for us in the first 2 seasons. Again, we'll keep an eye on it because he may get a coaching role at the club if there's space as we increase our coaching numbers and things like that. But for now, we are going to say goodbye to Michel Trombetta, who is retiring at the age of 34, going out on a high for his level of football. You know, we got to the playoff semi-finals. He did a role for us this year. He scored goals. He played a good number of games. But yeah, that is, the time is nigh for Michel Trombetta. So I think from there, looking at the retirees, let's go and look at the squad overall. So if we jump into the first team page, we can see that minutes played. So the most minutes played was played by Leandro Cabri at centre-back, which is quite interesting because he wasn't someone, he's not a player that's come through our youth academy, but he was young when we were at the club. Now, he isn't really progressing anymore. He's played 38 games. He played every single league game, started every single league game this year. Well, I guess that includes the playoffs as well. So maybe not every league game because he was there in the playoffs. But yeah, a decent performance, 6.83, good passing range, good tackles won at 82%, headers won at 56% isn't bad, 89% of his passes completed as well. So he's a very good player for us, but I do think given his, that's not what I wanted to do, given his ability, wow, it's just really messing up now, isn't it? Leonardo Cabri, there we go. Given his ability, I don't know how much of a starting player he's going to be moving forward. I just feel like at 23 years old, he's one of the older players in the squad now, given who's retiring. And I think his experience and sort of reputation, because the game is still based on reputation as the underlying numbers, I think he's going to be needed until we get to Serie B, but we'll have to wait and see. He does apparently still have room to grow, so maybe with some good training and stuff, could be pretty decent. With a balanced personality, he's not worth keeping around just for the personality. But yeah, Leonardo Cabri's not too bad, not too bad. Then we move on to a player that I'm a little bit sad about, because Marco Carbone is really good. He's been really good this year. He's performed really well for us. He's been an integral part of our central midfield, but he's also leaving the club. We've managed to negotiate this to what I think is a very good deal. So he is leaving to join Venezia in Serie A for 725k, and we're going to be getting, normally when you click on that, it then tells you the deal, but we're going to be getting 50% of his next sale value, and they're going to be playing a friendly with us. So we are in a good position. I think they've actually just been relegated, which means he might actually play for them in the first half. Yes, they have. They've just been relegated 3-2 in the playoffs. So yeah, Luca Carbone is going to be moving to Venezia for a lot of money. A lot of money for this sort of club that we're at. 725k full cash up front, and then a huge sell-on fee, which we can cash in hopefully in a couple of seasons. He's really good, but we are at that point with the finances as they are that we need to sell players. And Marco Carbone came through what I think our first youth intake, and he came through, couldn't play in that season because we didn't get into the playoffs. So they're not allowed to register them before the playoffs. During the season, if you get to if you do miss the playoffs, but then played 41 appearances back to back in our season. Was the more defensive midfielder, so didn't contribute goals and assists, but clearly very highly rated potentially, clearly very good, clearly could go places, has lots of interest. Piacenza won the race to sign him. We got a few clubs bidding around the 500k mark. Piacenza were the ones that went up to the level that we wanted. And Marco Carbone will be on his way, and it'll be sad, and that is a big hole that we need to fill for next season. One that I'm sort of surprised about has got as many minutes as he has is Vittorio Negretti at 4,000 minutes or something, 4,100 minutes. But 6'4" in jumping reach of 16 is massive. He's been really good for us this year, definitely outplaying his attributes. 32 starts, 3 sub appearances in the league, 6.88 rating, 76% of his headers have been won, which is just absolutely bonkers. 78% of his tackles won is really good as well. 88% of his passes completed. If we think about that 78% tackles won, and then look at his tackling 8, it's sort of, I don't want to say takes the piss out of the tackling attribute, but yeah, he's got tackling 8 and technique 5, so he doesn't even have good technique in his tackling, but he's still winning the majority of his tackles, which is just absolutely bonkers. But yeah, whilst we have a defender with such good jumping reach, there's always going to be a defender in our back two, in our centre-back systems, with a very good jumping reach. And at the moment, it's Vittorio Negretti, and he's done really well this season. Can't really complain, which I'm very happy with. And then rolling out the top 4 is Inverardi, and there was a lot of chat around Inverardi when he came through, because obviously we had Biffy playing on the left as well. But Inverardi has taken the chances we've given him with both hands. He has been absolutely superb this season. 27 starts, 2 sub appearances, a 7.11, 10 assists and 7 goals is just insane. Absolutely insane. 89% pass completion. He's slightly underperformed his XG, but by 0.56. Expected assists 8.36 and got 10. 20 chances created. A decent cross completion as well at 18. So a player that I've got no doubt will be just as good for us next year on that left-hand side. Fairly professional, all left foot, so can really whip in the crosses. A potential captain at the club in the future as well, with leadership 16, crossing 12, technique 13, and then the physicals at this level make such a difference. Acceleration, agility, pace, fitness and balance, all really good, all up there in double figures and in non-white numbers, which is just really good. And at 18 years old, he's still got plenty of football left in him. He can still develop, and he's got a better beard than me, and he's 18. So, that says it all really, doesn't it? And then seeing out the top 5 is our striker. Now, Angelo Fucci, again, is just someone that is probably far too good for this level, and we've annoyed him a little bit because we triggered a contract extension to ward off interest from other clubs, and he wasn't happy about that because he wants to move. We have had a chat with him and promised now that he can stay at the club, and we'll consider any bids that come in. So that in my mind just means you negotiate them out of paying what you want, and then you've considered it. But 27 starts, 1 sub appearances, 11 goals, slightly underperforming his XG, 4 assists in there. Really good, 6.94. 45% of his headers won, which for a striker is a pretty decent number. That is pretty good. 57% of his shots are on target, 87% passes completed. Definitely felt better when we moved him back to be playing as a target forward rather than a sort of striker that runs into the space. Definitely suited his attributes with his jumping reach 14, his height, his heading and his finishing ability. His off the ball has improved, determination, leadership's really good. Most likely we'll make him the captain next year. I think we're going to make him the captain because of his leadership and his determination, and hope that placates his want to leave. He is wanted by Spezia, Hellas Verona and Pisa, so they are 3 clubs that are in better divisions than us. And I think if someone offers us $1 million, I think $1 million would be my breaking point. If we get £1 million offer, then Fucci can leave. I think up until that, I'm happy to keep him around and a little bit upset, because I think his value to the team is outweighing his miserableness, because the rest of the team are absolutely delighted with the performance and their game time and stuff like that. So I think Angelo Fucci for me is the player that at the moment we can keep around and keep unhappy. to get the better use out of the team. But we do have good players coming through, and we'll look at those. We're looking at those. They were the top 5 performers. I mean, a big shout out. We'll go to number 6, because number 6 is Matteo Picci, who we've been having goalkeeper issues, and for him to come in, conceded just more than 1 a game, really not doing too badly. 8 clean sheets, a 6.82 average rating. Like, he's not a good goalkeeper, but he seems to perform better than Leonard more consistently, and that is what you want from a goalkeeper. You just want a bit of consistency. So for the moment, Matteo Picci will be staying in goal, and that comes through from the minutes he's had this season, right? I mean, 3,420 minutes is just so much better than I would have expected from a goalkeeper for his stature. But yeah, he's performed really well. And then if we look, just while we're here, at the age of this squad, so 36, 35, 34, all retiring. Put Zolo's here at the age of 30. He only had 1,804 minutes this year, so clearly we are limiting his minutes. Pelledri was a little bit more influential, 28 with 2,891 minutes. Piacenza had completely dropped off this team this year. 26 is his age and 1,325 minutes, so I think Piacenza could be on his way out as well pretty soon of the club. And then everybody else is really quite young, under the age of 25, a good different amount of minutes in here as well. And I'm happy with the balance of the squad, and even in the playoffs, right, we've bought through, so we'll look at the up and coming real youngsters that we just had through. So Jacopo Trasciani, you would have seen from the highlights that he had an impact in games, and it looks like he's one of those players that is just going to outperform his ability. And he's going to have certain attributes in here which allow him to outperform his ability. And for me, I think that's his technique and his first touch. His teamwork, his vision seems to get him out of a bit of trouble. We saw him dink over a ball into Fucci in the playoff semi-final. And yeah, he seems pretty good. I mean, he made 2 starts, 2 sub-appearances in the playoffs, scored a goal and got 3 assists. I mean, that's just absolutely bonkers. 4 goal contributions in 4 games for someone who's literally just come through our youth intake. I've got a feeling he could be our breakout performer of next season, playing in behind the striker, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. Next up, I wanted to look at Manina. I'm going to call him Luigi because I'm always struggling with his name. So we're just going to call him Luigi. There we go. I could call him Luigi Mario, couldn't I? Because they are the Mario brothers. But yeah, so again, like, his attributes aren't great. He's come off the bench a couple of times this season and got a 6.5. I was expecting a little bit more because he did sort of burst onto the scene and we were very excited by him last season. But his physicals should work well. He's fairly professional. He's going to train well. He's going to develop well. Next season, I see him getting a little bit more game time. He's going to have to rotate with Granero and the other right wingers that we have at the club. But yeah, he's not too bad. One of the people he is going to be competing with is Samuel Caputo. Bought in at the intake last year, 1 sub-appearance this year, wants to now be, or prefers to be, a right winger, but we need to get his crossing and stuff up. I still think striker would suit him better. He's got the pace, he's got the finishing. I like to think he's going to be like when the target forward as Fucci isn't working, he can come off the bench and then run at people in behind, and we can mix up the tactics to help us do that. But he needs to show a little bit more. He's only 15, so he's probably going to develop quite well according to his potential ability. So we'll see how he goes. I do like the look of him coming through. Thomas Gialona is another one who can play on the left or up front. He's lacking physically, but could make up for it technically and mentally. Again, made 1 sub-appearance in the last few minutes, so didn't get a match rating. But someone that I think we keep an eye on. 15 years old, maybe get him some under-21s football, under-18s football, and help him develop that way with a few minutes. But one that I'm quite excited about. We've got a couple more in here, but I think they were the main ones I wanted to focus on in terms of up-and-comers and youth. Now, normally I don't like this sort of view, but if you look at development, you can actually see about who has progressed over the last few months and who has progressed. You can't sort it by progression, but you can see who's been doing very well. So Marco De Luca stepped in to a couple of games in the latter part of the season. He started one of the playoff games. He came off the bench in the playoffs, and that really apparently helped him to develop. And You can see 1 start, 5 sub appearances. It's not much. There's not much. But if you look at his non-competitive games that he's done, 7.29. He played in the cup, 7.45. So I do think there is a player there that can help us out at left back when we need attacking options, or potentially left wing when we want a bit more of a direct runner. I don't like the dwells on the ball trait. I would quite like us to get rid of that. So we're going to suggest that gets removed, because I don't think he's good enough to dwell on the ball. He needs to run and then pass. That's all he needs to do. Run and pass. Run and pass. If his crossing gets up to 10, 11, 12, then yes, we can get him onto that sort of level of crossing as well and make him a bit more of a crossing fullback or winger. But I do think there's a player there, and I do think we could do well. Training rating is doing well. He's performing well in his training and everything like that. Like, you can see his dribbling, his first touch is going up. So yeah, I quite like Marco De Luca, and he's done well when he's played. In terms of other really high developing players, I mean, Traschiani's come through and just jumped up quite a lot, but not been here long enough to really judge. Vessi has taken a bit of a jump as well, although his attributes are going down. His training performance is going well. It's going well. We're training him up to try and get him as a fullback. A bit more on this sort of right-hand side out here to get him going on here. But again, could step in and do a decent job, I think, in the future and help us out in terms of squad depth. Development-wise, Cadbury, we've already looked at. He's going up, even though he wasn't a youth intake player. Roberto Arena is another one who's he's had a big injury. He's had this injury, which was for a partially torn thigh, which has meant he's had a massive decline in bravery. But I do think there's a player in there that we can get out again, potentially to run in behind, good finishing. He needs better off the ball to make sure he gets in good positions, and he likes to place his shots, which I think in this year's match engine seems to be a crucial trait. If a player comes through with that, I think it means they're going to score goals. But I like him. I'm just worried about how much this injury is going to affect his development and what we can do with it. So yeah, we've got some good youngsters coming through. I mean, Kyofo at left wing back's taken a sharp increase in progress recently. He's really good. He just offers us versatility. I like him at 24 years old. Didn't come through the youth intake, but thought he worth a little mention there as well. So yeah, we're doing all right. I mean, Biffy is developing. Biffy's problem or issue is that he's not as good as Inverardi, and Inverardi is younger than him. So I wonder if he'll be on a recently viewed Inverardi. He should be. There he is, Vincenzo Inverardi. So it's really interesting because Inverardi's the blue, right? So Inverardi's better physically. They're the same speed. Inverardi offers more defensively, offers more aerially. He is a little bit worse in attacking and technical, but when you actually then look at the attributes, like Inverardi's better at crossing. He's better at, tackling doesn't really matter, but he's got better technique for his crossing. He's got better acceleration, agility, balance, jumping reach, stamina, and strength. The only thing Biffy wins on is pace. And in my opinion, acceleration is more important than pace this season, this match engine. I mean, mentally, Biffy does have it better. But I feel like we're at a stage where physical and if you're better physically, you're going to be a better player. If you're then better technically in the right positions, you're going to be a better player. So I feel like that's Biffy's issue. Now, we've had a few comments to say, well, you could train Biffy up to play in sort of midfield. And that's what we're trying. If I remember rightly, I've trained it to, in possession is an attacking midfielder centre here. So we can probably change that now that we're playing with attacking midfielders in here. And I'm actually going to change this to passing as well. And we're going to double his intensity. So it's to try and really focus on developing him, because I don't want to give up on Biffy. I don't want to give up on Enrico Biffy. And I think there is a player in there. We just need to bring it out. And that's what we're going to try and do. That's what we're going to try and do over this summer and next season as well. He's got 2 years. He's got 2 more seasons to prove himself and see what can he do and how much can he develop. So Yeah, we'll see. There'll be a big change there always is in these early seasons. There'll be churn of players that now I don't think are good enough, and we've got to call people up to replace the retirees. We've got to make sure the squad is always at the best it can be. And in the under-20s, we do have a lot of people that are good potentially, some of them developing, some of them dropping off. We'll definitely be looking at a central midfielder that's going to need to step up. I don't know if Isaac Aragakawa, that's not his name, Isaac, the Ghanaian, is going to be able to step up and do it all the time. I mean, this guy, Pietro Dondini, keeps getting great reports from training, great reports in the non-competitive matches. And I feel like potentially you could train him up to be a holding midfielder, central midfielder, a bit more defensively, see what's going on there. So it's a really interesting juncture that we're at the moment. And I feel like we're not quite, again, the league itself, if we go and have a quick look at the league table, so if we go to stages, which obviously is getting an update, but I think by the time you're watching this video, this might all be changed about how we get to stages and what it shows. But back-to-back playoffs is really good. The problem we have is that for 2 seasons in a row, the team that have won the league have won it at a canter. And I feel like if we're going to win the league to avoid the playoffs, our start has to be impeccable. And then we need to get that sort of starting 11 fixed and get that sorted so that we don't change it very often. Whereas at the moment, I'm still rotating and trying to find the best. But I think, it was a good season. The XG table suggested we should have been in 4th, which would have been great. And I feel like that's what we need to do. We need to just keep pushing. We're clearly playing well. I feel like the tactical tweaks I'm doing are helping us, and we're helping us define a system that we want to play. And obviously that will change as different players come through. But overall, I'm very happy. Agarakawa, it was Agarakawa. His name is Agarakawa. But yeah, I don't quite think he's the guy. He's definitely not the guy to fill Carbone's space, I don't think, because he's now come from 15 to 18. His potential ability has dropped off where a lot of other players have come through. So I just think there's more to do. And if you look at this, I don't think he's the sort of player that should be starting 25 times for us in a season. And I think that's something that I need to work on and find someone that can sit in there and do the job for him. We're keeping Pelledri in there. Carbone is going to be playing back here as well. Zolo's probably going to be replaced next year by a youngster coming through. Yeah, I'm just a little bit worried about this holding midfield role. I think we could potentially put Zolo there and play Pelledri and put Zolo and not play a youngster for a season and see how we do. But I also want to keep the conveyor belt of youngsters coming through, as you can imagine. But I've been rambling long enough. I know I haven't covered everything that everybody will want to see, and I would have missed things out. So please do let me know in the comments. I hope you've preferred this style of video with a little bit more of a flow and an edit, but more of me as myself. And I do really appreciate all the feedback as well. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one for the start of season 4. And I don't know, do you think we can get promoted? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Cheers.